Well, good morning, boys and girls. It's kind of a few in number this morning. I don't know where they all went. They went somewhere else today, I guess. But we're glad you're here. Now, I don't know how many of you have a garden. I know most of you do. So you won't see this weed growing in your garden. I don't even know what this weed is. But if you ever seen a yard that has been sodded, do you know what I mean? They cut the grass, they roll it up, and then people roll this out into their yard, and it makes a really nice weed-free yard. Beautiful. You'll never see a weed like this in that type of yard either. This weed doesn't like to grow. Maybe it does, it just doesn't. It grows in places where nothing else likes to grow. It doesn't grow in the good ground. It's very happy to grow in the bad ground, the ground that doesn't get very much water, the ground where nothing else grows. And then this weed starts. This isn't a very good example of it because it's kind of the wrong time of year. Things have kind of quit growing. But this weed starts like anything else, just really tiny, and then it grows and grows, and it gets like this big around. I call this weed the gentleman weed because it's willing to grow and do things that no other weeds are really willing to do. Like I said, it grows where there's no water, not good dirt. It lets others go first. That's what gentlemen do, right? Does your mom ever call you a gentleman, Nathan? That's because you're polite. You let other people go first. Maybe you open the door for them. That's what gentlemen do. Well, this, like I said, this weed chooses to grow where nothing else grows. And, so it's kind of like a gentleman. And it also has some really pretty little violet flowers. And that's nice too. But this weed also has stickers on it. This weed has stickers, and it is very hard to kill. My yard, in one part where it wasn't getting watered very good, the grass had died out, and so this weed started taking over, just little at first, then bigger and bigger and bigger, and I didn't know what to do, so I sprayed it with a very bad weed poison. This doesn't mind that at all. It grows just fine. The only way to get rid of this weed is to dig it out one at a time. It's very hard to get rid of. As this weed grows, it gets bigger and bigger, and like I said, it gets about this big around, and it crowds out all the other good stuff. It crowds out the grass. It kills the grass. It takes all the sunlight. It takes the water. So it's not really a gentleman weed like I call it. It's a false gentleman, right? Because it's not a gentleman. So how does this weed compare to our life? Sometimes we do things that don't seem to be really that bad. Sometimes we're in a hurry, and when we get up in the morning, we neglect to spend our time with Jesus. And we think, well, once in a while, that's okay. But then sometimes once in a while becomes more than once in a while. What's that, Nathan? It becomes all the time, that's right. Sometimes we're tempted to eat things or drink things that we know are really not good for us. Sometimes we're tempted to use language that we really shouldn't, maybe to say things that are unpleasant. Sometimes we're tempted to be grumpy and not happy, not cheerful. Philippians 4 verse 8 says that we're supposed to speak about things that are true and honest, pure, lovely, good report. Those are the type of things we're supposed to think upon. So everything that we say, everything that we do becomes a habit. And habits, once they're formed, it's just like this weed. It's a lot harder to get rid of it, okay? Sometimes, we just have to dig them out, go to that effort to dig them out one at a time. So, instead of allowing these weeds to grow, we need to be like a true gentleman, and we need to be just like Jesus, loving and kind, and spend the time with him that we should every day, and not let these little things like this weed creep in, okay? Because they're a lot harder to get rid of than they are if we never start them at first.